Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to episode 8 of the Tinted Visors podcast. We're almost at double digits. We're going to keep popping out some episodes for you guys. Today, we've got more recaps with some team surprises and any disappointments. We've got some news around the league that we'd like to share. And we've also got our continuation of our weekly segments coming at you with Team Sweden for the Olympic rosters. As always, we're going to end off with some trivia. But for now, let's get it going.
Hear a sound. I got thousand gunmen turning up, but they will gun you down.
But before we get going, as always, we're going to hit you guys with card of the day. And for me, in light of his recent, brilliant performances, past couple games, basically all season, really, we have the Nikita Kucherov Young Guns. It's obviously an older card. It's really hard to find these days, especially that year, just in general. But obviously, he's one of their best players. He's gonna hopefully lead them back to the playoffs. Maybe he'll lead them to a deep run. But it's a great card, very clean design, and like I always say, it's gonna be part of my collection for a while.
No, absolutely. Love the design of those Young Guns from that year. Super rare set for a great player. So my card for the first time in this segment, I'm gonna be switching sports. We're going soccer. I'm not a huge soccer guy, but I am a huge Timo Werner fan. So we have a Lightning Strike Timo Werner autograph there at the bottom, and it is numbered to 120. Oh, this one's numbered 120 out of 149. This was actually a gift from Kenny. It was a Christmas gift. Big Timo Werner guy, and yeah, this card, like we both always say, going to be in the personal collection. Don't plan on getting rid of it anytime soon. So yeah, just to get us going here today, just to build off of what we were talking about last week, we're going to continue with some recaps just of some teams with some surprises, either for the good or for the bad. So I think we'll start with the Vancouver Canucks, obviously the local team for us. Off to a blistering start. They've only lost 3 games. I believe they're 10-2-1 at the time of this recording. Best start in franchise history, and you have Quinn Hughes, who's looking like a Norris candidate early on. Elias Pettersson's leading the league in points, and Thatcher Demko's really stepping up for this team. Kenny, how long do you think they can keep this going?
Hopefully as long as the season goes, right? I mean, as Canucks fans, we want to see them keep on winning and don't stop here, right? But obviously, I'm super happy to see them do so well. It's great to see them, especially guys like Brock Besser, who's been in the rumor mill for seems like every year now. Demko coming back from injury, he's doing really well again. And honestly, I'm happy to see PD do well. I really hope their success this season sort of builds onto some contract negotiations. See if that sort of makes him lean towards staying. Obviously, he's one of the best players in the league. He's definitely their best player. But, not to mention Quinn Hughes. I mean, you talk about Norris, and he's in the MVP conversation right now. I mean, the amount of points he's got through his first 10, 12 games, the role he's taken on with the C, he's really leading that blue line, and he's doing really well. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I completely agree with everything you said, and I think something that's flying under the radar is those off-season acquisitions. Bringing in Ian Cole and Carson Soucy has really stabilized that blue line, and not to mention the Philip Hronek trade from last year. He's really stepped up, has 10 points, I believe, so far in the year. He's almost point per game. And yeah, the blue line looks great for the Canucks, and the sky's the limit for them. I can really see them pushing for that 3 seed in the Pacific.
Moving on, though, we'll stay in the same division, but we'll go to the flip side, sort of like the bad sort of scenarios that have happened, and we'll go with the Calgary Flames. A lot of their top guys just aren't performing very well. As of the recording, we're 1 day removed from Huberdeau being benched for an entire period against the Nashville Predators just because the coach didn't think he had it in him that night. And, there's a lot of money tied up into these guys. Huberdeau, 6 points in 12 games, $10.5 million contract. Kadri, big contract as well. He's only got 7 points. Lindholm's their leading scorer right now with 8 points. He's looking for a big upgrade on his deal. But, I mean, with the point totals they got, their values are nowhere near what they were at this time last year, right? Markstrom's not doing so well. It's just chaos everywhere in Calgary. And if they don't switch it around soon, they're gonna have to blow up the whole thing.
Yeah, Calgary's only a few years removed from a very strong team in the Pacific being the 1 seed. And it starts at the top, like you said, their top guys, Jonathan Huberdeau, Nazem Kadri, they're getting the big money and they need to step up. They need to show that they are somewhat worth these contracts at least. And if they don't, you could look for guys like Elias Lindholm to kind of ask for a trade. Get out, right? Because Calgary is in shambles and they really do have to turn it around fast, otherwise it's really not looking great for them in the future. So yeah, just moving on to staying in the same division as well. Arguably the biggest surprise of the season so far this year, the Edmonton Oilers. The wheels have come off in Edmonton. You can see the frustration boiling over in McDavid and Draisaitl. Their goaltending is a mess. They've assigned Jack Campbell to the AHL, but what can they do to really turn this around? What moves do you see them making, if any?
It's tough to say, really. I mean, there's a lot of great goaltenders out there. I'm sure there's a lot of backup or third string goalies that could really sort of excel in a starting role position. But I mean, the position that they're in right now as a team, they're so desperate that any other team is going to charge them extra for picking up a goalie at this stage, right? The Oilers, I think, just as of right now, they need to fix it sort of within. Hopefully Stuart Skinner can sort of pick up his game. I'd like to say I did call it. I said their season would sort of rely on the goaltending, and so far that's exactly the case. But I mean, even their top guys, I mean, they showed their frustration during the Canucks game. Is it the top guys? Do you think the problem, or do you think the depth needs to step up as well?
I think the team as a whole needs to step up, but I would say the depth really needs to kind of step up and kind of spark these stars in McDavid and Draisaitl and inspire them to, start performing a little better. They have a AHL worthy bottom six forward group, and they need guys like Connor Brown to step up. Guys they brought in the offseason to bolster that forward depth need to step up big, because we all know McDavid and Draisaitl are going to bounce back. But the question is, can they get these depth guys to produce to help the Oilers make it back to the playoffs and even make a run? And just one player I did want to mention before moving on is Uri Slavkovsky of the Montreal Canadiens. The former first overall pick has not been playing well, and he's been getting the opportunity. He's been getting some top six minutes, averaging about 15, 16 minutes a night recently, but he only has 2 points, one goal and one assist. Kenny, what do you think they should do with him moving forward?
Like I mentioned when we were discussing first overalls and what they should do right out of the gate, I think they should send him down. I really do. He's obviously not getting the production that you want at the NHL level, so I think he should, go down, get the confidence back, get his swagger back before he comes back up. Like I also said, he didn't go into the greatest position with the Canadiens. They're not a contending team. They're not an overly great team, and they still aren't. They can afford to send him down a bit. They can afford to take this process a little slower than they'd like, but they have the time. 2 points in 12 games is not a good look. And I watched the game the other night when they played Tampa. He was on the first line. He was playing with top guys like Suzuki and Caulfield, and he was just not noticeable out there. And that's not what you want from a former first overall pick. But let me ask you, do you think he should stay up or send him down?
I totally agree with you. I do think they should send him down. The Canadiens are in no rush. Their window to win is not now. They're in a stacked Atlantic division. They, like you said, they can afford to take this process a little slower than maybe they'd like. Let Slavkovsky go down to the AHL, build up that confidence, get used to North American hockey before maybe bringing him back up, maybe after the All-Star break towards the end of the season. Get him some more experience, just get him ready, get him that confidence back, and he will perform, he will bounce back.
Before we move on, we're just going to talk about some news around the league, and unfortunately, it came out earlier this week that the Blackhawks are being sued again for another case of sexual assault, and we're not going to go too much into it, but it's just it's a disturbing case. It really is. It's pretty disgusting what they've done, and the fact that they've managed to keep all the assets that they had in the past couple of years. They've kept all these first round picks, and they've drafted very good players: Bedard, Kuczynski, Frank Nazar. The year before that, shout out to their scouts. They're doing a very good job. But the fact that the Coyotes are losing a first round pick for tampering with sort of scouting, I think that was the issue. And then recently, the Senators lose a first-round pick for their involvement in the Donov trade. Like, how are the Blackhawks keeping all these assets? Like, obviously, giving up a first-round pick is not gonna magically solve what they've done, but there needs to be some sort of punishment. There needs to be some sort of response from the NHL, because it just can't go on. Like, how are you rewarding this team for what they've done so far? Jaden, do you have any thoughts?
No, absolutely, I agree with you. Accountability needs to be taken by the Blackhawks organization, and something has to be done about this. There has to be some sort of punishment. They went through the glory days of the 2010s, and the allegations came out a couple years ago. And slap on the wrist for the Blackhawks, they almost get rewarded for it, getting the number one overall pick and getting a generational talent in Bedard. It really makes no sense. The NHL is being extremely inconsistent with their punishments, and they have to do better.
Moving on to the next piece of news, we did want to talk about, sort of sticking up for your teammates in different situations, and we wanted to talk about the Timothy Liljegren hit. I do hope I'm saying that right. But if you missed it, Brad Marchand, Liljegren going to the boards together. Liljegren comes out injured. I think it was high ankle sprain, long-term injury. It did not look good for him coming off the ice. We're going to give initial thoughts, and then we'll sort of go into the Leafs response. But Caden, what do you think of the hit?
It's a dirty hit every day of the week to me. It's Brad Marchand as well. Kind of gets his foot in between Liljegren's legs and just, Liljegren's is in a vulnerable position, but seeing as who's making the hit in Brad Marchand and there being no penalty is mind-boggling to me. Based on Marchand's reputation and his history, what he's done in the past, I think there should have been a suspension or at the very least a fine. But I think a suspension would have been just right. Like it's crazy that he got off scot-free with this pretty dirty play, in my opinion.
I think we're going to take the opposite side. I do think I'll get some flack for that. But just watching the video and sort of rewatching it over and over and then in slow motion as well, it's just a very unfortunate play. And, not to throw any blame on Liljegren, but the position he put himself in was very vulnerable, sticking his leg sort of in front of Marchand. And then both players coming down with their sticks. They're both sort of trying to do the same thing, essentially, just impede the other player. Marchand's stick does get caught behind Liljegren's foot. I do think it's a tripping penalty. But obviously you're going to look at Marchand and think it's a suspension. I don't see how there was too much intent into that into that play. But again, I do think it's a penalty. Obviously, very unfortunate result of what sort of came out from that. And, I hope he can get a speedy recovery and get back in the lineup soon.
No, absolutely. I can definitely see where you're coming from. But to me, it's just a can opener. And seeing as it's Brad Marchand, it's really hard to look at him and the play and, based on his history, once again, say that he didn't intend to do that. Could have been a hockey play, but to me, it's just a dirty play.
But yeah, now sort of looking into the response or, sort of lack thereof from the Leafs and their players, it kind of surprised me just how little response there was for a hit like that. When you sort of see after, Sheldon Keefe was very mad about, the non-call and he believed that it was, a dirty play. And I find it hard to believe that if he believed that, the players must have believed it as well. And if they believed it, then why was there no response? I don't understand that. A lot of people talk about the Leafs being soft, come playoff time, they're a soft team, whatever. Whether you're the toughest team in the league or the softest team in the league, that's irrelevant. When that sort of play happens, in the heat of the moment, it looks like a dirty play. You got to stick up for your team. It doesn't matter who's on the ice. Get out there. At least grab a player. You don't have to drop the gloves. You don't have to, if you're Matthews, you don't have to worry about hurting your hand in a punch. You don't have to drop the gloves. But you got to send a message and just say that's not acceptable. You can't let Marchand basically go around and just own your team for the next period, right? What are your thoughts?
No, I totally agree from you. There should have been an initial reaction. I'm surprised there wasn't from the players on the ice at the time of the hit. Maybe they missed it. Maybe the play was going on, but there has to be an initial reaction. That's the complete bottom line. And there's another clip of Marchand. He's kind of taunting the Leafs bench, and Bertuzzi's sitting there laughing. Reeves is talking back a bit, but there's no action. All they're doing is talking. These guys like Bertuzzi, Reeves, even Domi, these guys were brought in to kind of step up in these situations, and to see them all go flat and all go quiet and do absolutely nothing about it, I'd be really worried if I was a Leaf fan. And other teams are gonna see this, and they're gonna think that they can walk all over the Leafs and do whatever they want. It'll happen to Matthews, it'll happen to Marner, and if guys like Reeves and Bertuzzi continue not to step up, Leafs are gonna fold in the playoffs again. I hate to say it, but it's gonna happen. They don't have, if they're not gonna step up, who's gonna step up for them? They don't have anyone to toughen this team up, and it's not gonna look good for Leafs.
Yeah, you touched on it perfectly. They brought in those guys to do exactly what we're talking about, and they weren't able to do it. And especially, in the heat of the moment, like I said, it looks like a dirty play. It reminds me last year when Pointer went to the boards after, I think he might have got clipped by Riley or whatever it was. In the heat of the moment, it looked like a dirty play. And Tampa reacted as such. Stamkos got into it. Kucherov got into it. The non-fighters of the team got into some fights, got into the scrum because they want to stand up for the team. That's a championship team. That's a team who's bought into the system, who's bought into protecting their own players. Looking back as a Tampa fan, that was a clean play. There's nothing wrong with that. But I'd like to see my team stand up for themselves, and that's what they did. And on the flip side, if that happens to someone else, say the roles are reversed, that happens to Marchand. That's one of your best players. Of course you're standing up. What if that happens to Matthews? Of course you're going to step up. So how does that make Liljegren feel that no one stood up for him in the heat of the moment? He's going to come back after a long injury process to a team that didn't even stand up for him when that injury happened. You can't feel great about that, can you?
No, I totally agree with you. And we keep talking about how these dirty hits and teammates step up, regardless of if it was dirty or not. Whenever there's a big hit on one of your teammates, the reaction is to step up. Grab a guy, throw a punch, cross check the guy who hit him. Do something to stand up for your teammate, regardless of if it's a clean hit or not. It's really shocking to see that the Leafs truly did nothing, and hopefully they realize that, take accountability, and maybe something goes down the next time they play Boston. All right, so just moving on, our weekly segment, we have Team Sweden for the 2026 Winter Olympics, if the NHL obviously were allowed to compete. Kenny, do you want to give us the first top 6 forwards to make the team?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Just disclaimer, obviously, these aren't projected lines or anything. These are just, sort of like in order of locks. So these are the top 6 guys who we believe are pretty much locked to be there. We'll go Philip Forsberg, Elias Pettersson, William Nylander, Jesper Bratt from the Devils, Mika Zibanejad, and Elias Lindholm on the Flames.
No, absolutely. Very solid top 6 forward group from Team Sweden. They are kind of lacking a superstar to compete with some of the best, but Elias Pettersson is sort of developing into that, so we'll see if that can continue for Team Sweden. And then the bottom 6 forwards that we believe will make the team are Adrian Kempe, Joel Eriksson Ek, Lucas Raymond, William Karlsson, Leo Carlsson, and William Eklund. We did put a couple young guys in there. We do believe they will develop in 2.5 years' time. And it kind of depends on what the coach is really looking for. It's hard to say, but he may lean towards, more experienced veterans. But Leo Carlsson and William Eklund, we think they'll develop enough in 2.5 years in order to be good enough to make this Team Sweden team.
Yeah, like you said, good mix of, all ages in there, good mix of all play styles. Obviously, looking at the depth, it's not as deep as a Team USA would be or a Team Canada would be, but Sweden always comes out, they always come to play, and they always put on a good show. So we'll go to the defense right now. We'll go with the top 3 locks that we think will make it. Rasmus Dahlin, probably going to be their starter defenseman. Erik Karlsson will be up there as well, and Victor Hedman.
Yeah, that's a top 3 D-men that can compete with the best. Hedman and Karlsson will be getting up there in age. So with our last 3 defensemen, we decided to go with a younger bottom pair. So we'll go Rasmus Andersson as the 4th D, and then the bottom pair we elected for Rasmus Sandin and Timothy Liljegren. This blue line got some seasoned vets, got some younger guys, really great mix, and I think those 2 bottom young guys, Sandin and Liljegren, will be able to learn a lot from these older Swedish defensemen and learn on the fly and, really show up when it matters for this Team Sweden squad.
Yeah, if those young guys do end up panning out the way we do think they will, I think Sandy and Liljegren have a great shot. But if not, there are backups, guys like Hampus Lindholm and Mattias Ekholm. Even, a shout out to a guy like Gustav Forsling, if, the young guys were to falter in any sort of progression. But moving on to the goalies, we have a few guys here. The starter, we're going to go with Linus Ullmark, obviously a proven Vezina winner, with a great defense in front of him like he has in Boston. He can have great numbers, right? The backup, we're going to go with Philip Gustafsson.
Yeah, just a little bit of a younger guy, has had a rocky start to start this year, but 2.5 years, think he'll be solid by then. And then our 3rd string goalie, we are actually electing to go with another young guy. We're going to go Jesper Wallstead for that number 3 spot. It's a very solid goalie prospect, and we do think he will develop in 2.5 years and kind of flourish. Won't have to play very much, barring any injuries, but we do think he is good enough to make this squad.
Yeah, it's a great lineup. Sweden always produces top players year in year, and they always produce top teams, all the time when they go to, international tournaments. So we'll see what happens with them. Obviously their goal is going to be to compete with USA and Canada for the number 1 spot. Based off, looking at the paper alone, they might not be able to get there, but I'm excited to see how well they do if, obviously the NHL is allowed to go. But we're going to move on to the final segment. As always, we're going to hit you guys with trivia. I'm going to go first. Hayden, a couple weeks ago, I asked for all the first-round picks on the Toronto Maple Leafs roster.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make it maybe a little bit easier, maybe a little bit harder, and we're going to go with all the current first-round picks on your Vancouver Canucks.
Oh, okay.
For context, there are 8 of them. One of them is sort of in and out of the lineup.
Okay. There's 8 of them. So,
Mhm.
like last time, start with the obvious ones. We'll go with Elias Patterson.
Mhm.
We'll go Brock Besser.
Yep.
Okay. It's the only obvious ones. Ooh. Oh, Quinn Hughes. So sorry,
Let's do it.
Quinn. We'll go, I believe, Tyler Myers.
That's 4.
Okay. I want to say JT Miller, but I'm not. I feel like he would be like a late first round kind of guy. So we will say JT Miller.
That is correct. Yep.
Okay. So we got 5. I have a feeling Connor. No way, he's too small. I don't think he'd be a first rounder. I think he's too small to be a first rounder. We'll go Philip Hronik.
Philip Hronik is incorrect.
Okay. Well, I'll follow that up. This better be right. We'll guess Ian Cole.
That is a first round pick. There you
Okay.
go.
Oh, is it Anthony Beauvillier?
There you go. That
Okay.
is a first round pick as well.
In and out of the. Oh. Is it? I don't even know if he might be in the AHL, but Noah Juleson?
That is a first round
Okay.
pick. The Montreal Canadiens.
Okay.
There you go. That's all 8.
So, my first trivia question for you. You don't talk a lot, but we all know that you're very good with the drafts. So, today's challenge is name one player from each draft spot. We'll do 1 to 16. And the only rule is you can't, because to stop you from getting on a roll, you can't name back-to-back players from the same draft class.
Okay, I might just flip between 2 drafts. We'll go Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
Then we'll go Capo Caco.
That's correct.
Then we'll go Dylan Strome at 3.
Okay.
We will go Bowen Byram at 4.
Mm-hmm.
Noah Hannafin at 5. 2019 6 would be Mort Seider.
Okay.
Did I skip 7?
You just said Mo
We'll go
Seider.
Quinn Hughes. Sorry,
Okay.
we'll go Quinn Hughes. We'll
Okay.
just, for fun.
Yeah.
So the 8th in 2019, we'll go with Philip Broberg.
That's correct. Yeah. There you go. On
Okay.
to 9.
The 9th, we'll go random. We'll go back to 2015. We'll go Timo Meyer. 10th, we'll go with Podkolzin.
There you go. I was about to say. Okay. Podkolzin in the 10.
2015, 11th, it's Lawson Krause.
That is correct. Okay. On to 12.
2019 12th will be Matt Boldy. 2022 was Frank Nazar.
Yep, that is correct. 14, 15,
14
16.
and-
3 more to go.
14 in 2019 was Cam York. 2015 would have been Zach Senyshyn.
That's correct. You're down to 16. This is it.
And then 16th, we'll go back to 2019 and we'll hit you with Alex Newhook.
Alex Newhook was drafted number 16. Look at that. No mistakes from Kenny today. The draft knowledge, you can't beat it. That is crazy. Really well done. That was good.
We're going to go with the top 10 active point scorers. For a little bit of context, all 10 of these are under contract and have played at least 1 game this season.
We'll start with Joe Pavelski.
Okay, yeah, for sure. You're starting with number 8 on the list.
Okay, yeah. Just trying to think of the old guys first. We'll go Alex Ovechkin.
Alex Ovechkin is number 2, yeah.
Okay, Sidney Crosby.
Number 1.
Okay. Okay, so Patrick Kane wouldn't count. I guess Jonathan Taves wouldn't count either. I don't even know if he'd be on the list, but we'll go Connor McDavid.
Connor McDavid is not on the list.
Oof. Okay. Evgeny Malkin.
Kenny Malkin is number 3, yeah.
Okay. Someone hit 1,000. Oh, we'll go Steven Stamkos.
Steven Stamkos is number 5, yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, the cutoff is 923 points.
What about a guy? What about Corey Perry?
Corey Perry's not on the list.
Okay. I'll say it. Don't know if it's right, but John Tavares.
I'll give you that at number 9, John Tavares.
This is so wrong. We'll go Zach Parise.
Zach Parise is incorrect. I'm not even sure if he's under contract right now. So number 4, we've got Anze Kopitar. We have Nick Backstrom, Claude Giroux. We have Blake Wheeler.
Oof.
A lot of surprises on there. I would not think Anze Kopitar is number 4. But, yeah, old guys, but good guys still.
Shows how good he was back in the 2010s. So, Kenny, my next question for you. First, you're going to have to pick a division.
Least I know about was probably Central. We'll go Central.
So, the question is, can you name the top point getter from each team in the Central Division from last season? 3 lives.
We'll go Arizona with Keller.
Clayton Keller is correct.
Colorado, we will go with McKinnon.
Nathan McKinnon is correct.
Dallas will go with J-Rob.
That is correct. Minnesota, yeah.
So I'll go with Kaprizov.
Kaprizov is correct.
Blues, go with Robert Thomas.
Robert Thomas is incorrect. 2 lives left.
Jets, Kyle Connor.
Kyle Connor is correct. 3 teams left, 2 lives.
Okay. Kyrou.
Jordan Kyrou is correct. Yeah,
Okay.
almost missed it. Okay. 2 teams, 2 lives.
Nashville, forgot 2 lives, I'll go Yossi.
Roman Yossi is correct. Down to the Blackhawks.
Chicago.
2 shots in the dark almost.
Is it Seth Jones?
Seth Jones is incorrect. 1
Oh,
live
no.
left.
So I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Anthony Ciu?
Yeah.
Anthony Ciu is correct. Andreas
Okay.
Anthony Ciu. He gets through the Central Gauntlet.
I do have a third one if you want it.
Sure, let's do it.
It's just kind of a rapid fire one. I'm gonna name 2 players. Just tell me who was picked higher in the draft.
Okay.
We'll start off with Luke or Quinn Hughes. Who
Luke
was picked higher?
Hughes. Luke Hughes.
Luke Hughes was. Ryan Strome or Dylan Strome?
Ooh. We'll go Dylan Strome.
Dylan Strome was picked higher.
Yeah, okay.
Griffin Reinhardt or Sam Reinhardt?
Griffin or Sam? I think it's Sam.
Sam was higher, yeah. Next we'll go a couple defensemen, Hannafin or Zach Werenski.
You just mentioned Hannafin earlier. He's, I think, 9. Give me Noah Hannafin.
So you're wrong about him going 9, but you are right about him going earlier than Werenski.
Okay, where did he go? You 11?
Hannafin went 5.
Oh,
and then
wow.
Werenski, I think he went 8.
Yeah, I'm really off. Okay.
Next we'll go Sam Bennett or Elias Pettersson.
See, oh my gosh. Sam Bennett in juniors was gross. Petey was 5. I think I have a funny feeling Sam Bennett went 4 or 3. And this feels like such obviously should be a trick question, but you might be trying to throw me off. I'll bite. We'll go Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett is correct. You are 100% so far.
There we go.
Ivan Provorov or Bo Horvat?
Provorov or Horvat? Horvat went 9, I believe. We'll go with Provorov.
You are correct.
Okay. Nice.
Next up, we are going to go with Pasternak or Mikko Rantanen?
Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah, that is correct. Same draft class, Mark Scheifele or Mika Zibanejad?
I'll say Mark Scheifele.
It is Mika Zibanejad, actually.
Okay.
But we're almost done. You are 7 for 8 right now. Next up, sticking with, I get through a lot of Canucks players. We're going to go Thomas Chabot or Brock Besser. Same draft class.
Thomas Chabot, Brock Besser. We'll go Thomas Chabot.
That is correct.
Okay.
And then last one, it is the most recent draft. Michkov or Ryan Leonard?
Oh. Okay. I just thought of this because everyone was talking about Michkov being the next OV and how everyone wanted him to go to Washington, but he didn't fall that far. So give me Matvei Michkov.
I'll give that to you.
Bang.
That is correct. 9
Bang.
for 10. Very solid score. It was a lot of hard questions,
Oof.
but great performance
We're there.
all around.
I'm right there. I'm right behind you. I'm learning the drafts. I'm coming. All right, Kenny. So last trivia question of the day. It is going to be, I'm going to give you 2 players, and you have to tell me who has the better career year points-wise.
Yeah.
And I will say, so I have 10 pairs for you, okay?
Mhm.
And I'll say 2 of them are ties. Oh, one more side note is Connor McDavid is on this list, but it's excluding his career year. Claude Giroux or Corey Perry?
Claude Giroux.
Claude Giroux is correct. Leon Draisaitl or Nikita Kucherov?
Kucherov.
That is incorrect. It's a tie. They
Really?
both their
I
career
forgot
highs.
about the tie already.
128. Okay. John Tavares or Tim Stützle?
So I'll go Tim Stützle.
Tim Stützle's correct. Stützle put up 90. Tavares' career high is 88. Alexander Ovechkin or Evgeny Malkin?
It's gotta be Ovechkin.
Ovechkin is incorrect. Ovechkin's
Oh
career
my
high,
goodness.
112. You're going to hate me. Evgeny Malkin's career high, 113.
13. Wow. Wow.
We'll go Patrick Kane or Mitch Marner.
Patrick Kane.
Patrick Kane is correct. You got Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, excluding his 153-point year.
Still Connor McDavid.
It is still Connor McDavid. 123 points. Crosby's is 120. Two defensemen here. We'll go Cale Makar and Brent Burns.
We'll go Cale Makar.
Cale Makar is correct. Makar, 86. Brent Burns, 83. Adam Fox or Quinn Hughes?
I'm gonna use one of those ties.
Using one of the ties, it is incorrect. Quinn
okay.
Hughes, 76. Adam Fox, 74.
Oh, okay.
Jack Hughes or JT Miller?
That's where I'm gonna use my tie.
That is
99
correct.
points.
99
Should've waited.
each.
Should have waited.
And finally, probably the hardest one, just based on the point totals, Alexis Lafreniere or Capo Caco.
Gotta go Capo Caco here.
Capo Caco is correct. 40
Okay.
points compared to Laffy's 39.
Wow.
You did really well, honestly. I put you to it. A lot of these were really hard, and you know what? How many did you get wrong? Just a couple? I think 2?
By 2 or 3. But no, that was fun. That was good.
That was good. Wow. All right.
That wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys for all the support, everything so far. Caden, you got anything to say?
No, just thanks for the support. We love pumping out the content. Hoping you guys are enjoying it. And yeah, take care, and we'll see you next week.
You won't hear a sound. I got 1,000 gunmen turning up, but they will gun you down. Oh, you know she wild inside emoji.